Coming up next on In the Box Seat podcast.
I think the thing is, I have autism and ADHD, and understanding the changes I've had to make and how I would like people to give me the opportunity. You've got to meet people where they're at and just take a step back and maybe listen. And I've learned that, and that's what I try and do with them, and that's what I try and teach them as well. Just stop, think. Sometimes we think we know something, and sometimes we just ask a question and wait and see. It's something completely different to what we thought.
Welcome to another edition of In the Box Seat podcast, proudly brought to you by Gallop TV. And we are here at the South African Jockey Academy, Western Cape branch. The Jockey Academy continue to break records and just do wonderful things. And they certainly did something new this season, by appointing the very first female riding master at the South African Jockey Academy. Her name is Colinda Austin, and she is our guest today. But before we talk to Colinda, Raheel, lovely to be here at the South African Jockey Academy, Western Cape branch, and what a wonderful facility they have.
Yeah, absolutely, Warren. Good to be speaking to Colinda, obviously newly appointed in a new position. And Colinda, good to have you on the podcast, and you've got a lot of experience in the industry, but a new position for you.
Yeah, very new. Although it's kind of like being a mother, raising your own children. These are, I couldn't be proud of them if they were my own sons and daughters. So yeah, good.
How did this, tell us the story. How did the job come about? Did you find the job or the job find you?
I had seen it advertised, and I've always taken an interest in apprentices. You know, as an assistant, even young, I've always been interested in their development. And I thought, oh, should I, shouldn't I? And then I just decided, oh well, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and then it came about. Yeah.
Often people say that, you know, well, it doesn't always work that way, that you can't train somebody if you haven't done it yourself. That is certainly not the case with you, because you've ridden, you're an accomplished rider, you're an accomplished horsewoman. Tell us about, you know, your riding experience.
Yeah, it is fortunate that I've had one riding, although not so much as a jockey. My little 11 work rider races doesn't qualify me in that department, but I've ridden a lot of work since I was 18, and I'm 55, 56 now. And also being an assistant trainer, that side of things, that helps me with the apprentices, telling them that side, not just the jockey side of things. And the horsemanship, yeah, I've also done endurance riding, so a little bit of difference, and horsemanship is important, not just being able to balance on a horse. So
How have you found sort of settling into your new position? Has it been difficult, or has it been a bit of a breeze?
There has been a bit of difficulties. I actually thought that the apprentices were going to be the hard part, but they've actually been the easiest part. They're fantastic, and trainers, owners actually have made it really, really easy. It's like a big family. Stipendiary stewards, everyone has just been very supportive and made the transition very easy for me.
I mean, how many apprentices are you in charge of, and what's it like staying with them?
I have 3 in the house, the 3 boys, Brevin, Sofiso and Varun. Nicola will join us on Thursday, and she's got a little flat on the side. And then upstairs we have a loft which is for visiting apprentices. I thought it was going to be difficult. I like my privacy, but yeah, they're all the same actually, and we all actually just, it's like a family really. I don't feel any different than if I had my own children here. So yeah.
How long is Nicola set to be here for?
She's going to be here for 6 months.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just touching on Nicola, she obviously had her first couple of rides last week at Hollywood Vets Durbanville, and she was involved in something that would have been new to her first objection. And what was that process like for her?
Well, she had a lot of support. There were a lot of us in the boardroom.
Yeah.
And the stipendiary stewards were supporting that as well. The stipendiary stewards have been fantastic with the apprentices, guiding them, helping them not to be so nervous in the boardroom. So there were a lot in the boardroom, and they don't make it a process where you need to fear. It's about justice and doing what's right. And so I don't think it was that intimidating for her. Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Warren, because when we spoke to one of the other riding masters a few weeks back, I mean, for some apprentices, for some young riders, it can be a bit intimidating because, I mean, you're up against a more experienced jockey. I mean, you're often not sure what to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you go into those situations, yes, obviously you're going into the boardroom for disciplinary maybe, or for an objection or whatever the case may be. Obviously nobody wants to be in that situation, but it's a form of discipline. You should be able to feel comfortable and confident, as silly as it sounds, in that space, because that's where you're going to learn how to correct your errors and to take your punishment. And people shouldn't be scared of disciplinarians. That's what I'm trying to say, because they are the ones that are there to fix your mistakes, and you've got to pay the price.
Well, absolutely, and I mean, I know here in Cape Town, and the approach that Nicholas Shearer and when Arnold Hyde is here, it's about making it safe for everybody. They're not attacking you personally.
Yeah.
They want to make the game safe. They want to make it fair for everybody. So even when it's jockey against apprentice, the jockeys are going to try and take it out on the apprentices, not in a bad way. They're going to use whatever leverage they can, but the stipendiary stewards are there to make it fair.
Just going back to you now, and we'll come back to the Appies, of course, in a moment, but tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Where were you born? Your career? You've worked for a lot of trainers. Take us through that journey.
That sounds bad. I'm working for a lot of trainers. I was born in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
We came out when I was 10. I did go back in later years when I was 20, and my son was born in Zimbabwe. The first time I ever sat on a horse was in Pietermaritzburg. I was about 14. I lied. I'm not generally a liar. I said I could ride, but I couldn't. Because I wanted to that badly, and I got sent. No, I got sent out on an outride. That was my first experience. The horse and I came back together, so it was fine. And it was for a lady who did endurance, and I actually learnt a lot about a sports horse then. My first racing job was actually, funny enough, with Andy Smith in Port Elizabeth.
Okay.
Many moons ago, I froze to death. I didn't have the right clothes in winter and PE. It wasn't pleasant. And then I started nursing. I did that for about 3 years, but I missed racehorses, and I went to work for Maureen Bates. And it was a time when they were having a strike on, and Johnny Dawson asked if he could get a bit of help. So me, Torrent Lang, Nicolette, there were a number of us. Wendy Whitehead was around at that time. We were all of the same genre. We were riding with it, Terry Fripp.
Okay.
So that's where, working for Johnny Dawson. That's where I really got into racing then.
Is it something that you never thought maybe it's worth pursuing, riding?
Well, it wasn't really. There wasn't an opportunity for girls in those days. I'm not sure I would have made a good jockey, in the sense that I think I'm very soft on horses. I might not have that cutthroat instinct. I'd go, oh, shame. So I'm not sure I would have been the best. I might have not developed that. I loved the riding, but I think I'm maybe a bit too soft. You kind of have to have a bit more of a competitive edge in that way, which I think maybe I might not have had.
And you're quite right. And this morning when we were at Middleton Track, funnily enough, chatting to some of the folks there, and we were talking about some of the ex-jockeys that have gone on to do other things and become riding masters overseas, and and just sometimes you're right. You've got everything, but you're a little soft, and you've just got to have that tighter grip, which is, and that's not a bad thing. You admit to that, and that's because that's what you need to be successful.
Yeah, it's another level.
And absolutely. The daily routine here, Colinda, what is it all about, and when does your day start, and when does it end, and what do they do?
Well, it starts at 5. I drop one of the apprentices off at 5, come back for the other ones. They normally check about 20 past 5, just because we're just around the corner. They're busy up and down, riding work for the various trainers. It changes from week to week which trainers you're going for. It depends where you got rides, depends on relationships you're building at that time, which change, although they get on well with everybody. We try and get around to everybody. We normally finish track work around 9:30, 9:45. Then they normally go to Craig Deploy. After that, we get on the equisizer. There's other gym things that we do with Craig Deploy as well. We go through, like at the moment, they're busy doing stick work. Some of their stick work hasn't been the greatest lately, so we're working that. We had Felix, fortunately, yesterday, helping with coming out the starting stalls. That was fantastic. We all learnt a lot of new things from Felix. He's here still working a lot with Nicola. Then we get home roughly around 11 o'clock. The boys make themselves breakfast. And then in the afternoons, like this afternoon, for instance, Brevin has a physio. Colinda will be coming at 4. He'll go through race reviews with them.
I was going to ask you what Colinda's role is, but finish the day's planning and then we'll come back to Col.
Yeah, and then so Col will be at about 4. We'll go through races where they've made mistakes, previous races. We'll discuss a few things. Any questions they need to ask him, they'll ask. We'll discuss up-and-coming races, possible scenarios. Obviously, you need to find out what your trainers want first. Craig de Polo also does a lot of that. He's very invested in the boys as well, so we've got a lot of support here. And the trainers they're fantastic. So actually, it's fantastic for me because everyone works together. A trainer will come and say to me, I think this, and then we'll discuss it with Craig and Carl, and we'll try and come up with a solution. Yeah.
You've mentioned some mighty names. You say you have a great support group, and we'll get to head office in a moment, but Craig Deploy, Felix Kutsia, Carl Nisius. I mean, that's special.
And all the other trainers, Vaughan Marshall, Pete Boerter, Pete Steyn, everybody, and Paul Reeves, everyone actually invests in these apprentices. I can't tell you, it's just like they almost make sacrifices themselves to build into these apprentices. So the owners, everybody.
But Raheel, you see that. I mean, we watch racing on a daily basis from around the world, never mind in South Africa, and you can distinctly see that there's an improvement, there's progression. Yes, of course, they're going to make errors. We all make errors, but they're learning, they're entitled to make errors. But I've got no doubt you can see the progression, especially coming out of the Western Cape.
Yeah, you certainly can, and I think Brevin Plaatjes is proof in the pudding for that, because of the previous season that he had moving down here, and just huge improvement. Yeah. I mean, he turned his career around for the better, and I mean, he won the National Apprentice title, and I'm sure that he's going to be going out of his way to try and retain that. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting that more and more apprentices are looking to move down here to the Western Cape because they've seen the turnaround.
I think it's the support that they get there. Look, a lot of it they have to do themselves. We can tell them everything they need to know. Yeah. We can teach them, unless they take it on board and do the hard work themselves, nothing's going to change. But also it's the mental attitude that they've got to have, you know, and they've got to be happy and enjoy the work. They're enjoying their work. Yeah.
Let's talk about the 3 personalities that you've got here, because you know everybody's different, and when 4 different people live in a home, personalities could clash. But Brevin Plaatjes, let's start with him, because he's just a wonderful soul, but you've got to learn him.
Yeah, Brevin wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's very hard on himself, and people tend to think that he has a bit of attitude. They're just reading it wrong. He's actually angry at himself, and he doesn't like making mistakes. He doesn't like letting people down. Like, often he'll come back and apologize to me if he thinks he's let me down over something. He really wants to please, and he doesn't want to be in trouble, and so sometimes it might come across as arrogance, and he's not. He's the first to apologize, and it's sincere, because he generally doesn't make the mistake again. He's got a very soft, kind heart, and he's very, very, very intelligent. He's very bright, and he's driven, and he wants to succeed. But yeah, sometimes not always easy. We all have our days when it's just not as hard, but he always comes back fighting. He'll come from one race, a bad race, and we chat and we talk, and I said, now go out there and leave that one behind, and he'll come out and win the next race. I can't tell you how many times that. And that takes character to pick yourself up and do that.
Just to add on to the question that Warren asks, I mean, how have you been able to find adapting to these 3 different personalities?
I think the thing is, I have autism and ADHD, and understanding the changes I've had to make, and how I would like people to give me the opportunity. You've got to meet people where they're at, and just take a step back and maybe listen. And I've learned that. And that's what I try and do with them, and that's what I try and teach them as well. Just stop, think. Sometimes we think we know something, and sometimes we just ask a question and wait and see. It's something completely different to what we thought. So I try and not think the worst and give them the benefit of the doubt. And also I allow them quite a bit of freedom to make mistakes, because you're going to. They're still young. They're still young men. But I'm very proud of them, and if I could have been at their age, make the leaps in character that they have done. Yo, what a difference.
Varun Jorti, I think is the pronunciation.
Emeritus, as Justin calls him.
Emeritus.
Emeritus.
Emeritus. I had the privilege of interviewing him for his first winner at Hollywood Bets Durbanville, and he seems to be learning the ropes quickly, but also quiet personality. Is that, have I read that right?
He's sneaky. He's learning how to steal rides from people. Good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very determined and very driven, and I think he works the hardest of anybody. We're trying to get him to understand that he must just relax a little. He's trying to force the results, and I think it's holding him back a bit. But we've been discussing that with trainers, with everybody's. Felix gave him some good advice the other day. We're just trying to get him just to relax a little, and the result will come, because he so wants to do well, and he works so hard.
Shame.
So yeah.
And Sfiso, I mean, also just lovely. He's getting the rides now. He's going.
Yeah, Sfiso is riding consistently well, and last week he had a really rough day. So by the end of the day, he was so disheartened, and because everything was going wrong, and yet he was riding brilliantly. He just had difficult horses. So he was a bit disheartened by the time he got. I'm like, you can do this. Come on, you've been doing well. And then he had the winner. So yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Sfiso having a hard day. Do you see it as your job to sort of perk them up?
I think so, because everyone needs encouragement.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of look at us that we're a family, and when someone's down and maybe needs to correct their thinking or just a bit of encouragement, that is my job to do that, and just to motivate them, and like, don't be hard on yourself. You're doing well. Just to keep on, even if they're not believing. Like, no, you're doing fine. You know, these three boys, and including Nicola, they all want to do well. They love what they're doing. They high achievers, but they're also good people, and they don't want to let down. They understand the importance of what they're doing to punters, to the trainers, to the owners. You know, we've been trying to teach them the importance of it, and they take that responsibility. It's a hard game.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah.
It certainly is. And you mentioned that because that's a talent, that's an art. Because take it, encouragement, etc., out of their job. Take it into their lives, their personal lives, and into their elder. It's something that is taught from a young age, which should only hold them in good stead in their career and out of their career. But you mentioned bad days. What's the mood like when you come back to the academy? It's been a bit of a bad day. You just, as you say, support one another. Then there's the opposite side. If the guys have had a winner or two, how do you celebrate that? Is there just?
Well, it's tricky. I mean, with Varun, we went and we had ice cream and whatever. But we have to be a bit careful. It's like your natural way you want to celebrate. We're going to check who's got light rides coming up or whatever. But they're pretty good at managing that. And one thing I like what they do is they encourage each other. There's a good brotherhood. They genuinely, when someone else has done well, the others are pleased. It's a genuine.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because we spoke to him, Kolisi Mbuto, I think it was a couple of weeks back, and he also mentioned that when he's not riding, he wants to help his fellow apprentices and give them some sort of guidance if he's ridden a horse before, and it's good that they all sort of shared those same values. Yeah,
there is competition. I mean, like we call it, the battlefield.
Yes.
So there's competition out there, but it's.
But isn't it really the same in most sort of situations? The big bad world out there it's big bad sometimes, but there's if you're a riding master, your colleagues and I'm sure everyone wants everybody to do well. You want your kids to excel. The Joburg ones, you want everybody, as are we. You want him to do a good interview. You just support one another. And that's how it can just get stronger as a unit, which makes the industry better, surely.
Well, that's what. To me, that's how you define success, is just healthy, good people, sound mind, doing their best. You can only do your best.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can try harder, learn from your mistakes. Actually, funny enough, I saw yesterday a groom had written on his back something like, I always win. I either win or I learn. So
yes, either way you're going to be winning.
Either way,
absolutely. That's so cool.
I thought that's very good. And for these guys, I want them to be successful as human beings, not just. And I think it'll build into. They'll be successful jockeys, winning races if they find a secure footing with themselves and become successful human beings, like who they are, treat other people respectfully and well, and be confident in who they are as people. Yeah.
As much as you find it like it's your job to sort of perk them up and give them encouragement, how do you find it having to be critical on them and having to be hard on them at times?
Most of the time it's not too bad. Sometimes they're a bit resistant. So timing is everything. You know, we try and find when they're going to be receptive. You don't want to get people on a high or a low because they're not listening. And sometimes when they're struggling with something and sometimes there's a bit of resistance, that can be hard. But eventually we push through it. You've got to. That's part of discipling people, really.
Yeah.
You can't just have all the good days and you want to save people from going over a cliff. That's your duty. So you've got to say, hey, put your foot down. So I have my firm voice. There's another side that they see every now and again if they're trying to take liberties, that comes out.
Do at times do they sort of willingly accept it, or do they sort of
for the most part they are no trouble. Sometimes they're not understanding and maybe we haven't put the message across right, so we have to adapt it and try. Unfortunately with Carl and with Craig and even now with Felix, we can discuss it and like, okay, we're not getting through, and then eventually we have a breakthrough, which is, it's fantastic when you have people so invested in getting apprentices to do well, and we work even with the stipendary students. Like sometimes I've said, I'm like, I don't know how to get through. I'm getting frustrated, and then they'll sit down and they'll get through. So everyone
does their part.
Sometimes they'll take the message from somebody else, you know. So there's things they'll discuss with me. There's things they'll discuss with Craig. So and that's what we're there for. It takes a village, and sometimes the trainer. I've told them, if you can't talk to me, go to there. But you need to talk it out.
Absolutely.
Like Sophisa's keeps things inside, and he's got to learn not to. Whereas Brevon's very out there, and Varun will come and discuss with you. Sofisa is a bit different. He keeps it all inside, but he's got to learn. I said so. Find someone you can discuss it with, because you can't deal with it all here.
Just going back to you and your career in the game. I mean, being an assistant trainer for many years. Was it ever a plan that you may want to take out your license on your own?
Never. It's too hard. I don't like that kind of pressure. I'm a good 2IC. You must never go beyond your anointing.
Yeah. And what would you say has been your greatest success as an assistant trainer?
I'm not sure. I used understanding the horses, I think.
Okay.
Seeing what they need to make the horse's life comfortable. For me, I think that was it. I've always put horses first and recognizing what the horse needs, and I'd go and massage them, and that for me is horse therapy, and I love that. And actually, I've taken Varun a few times. He's got a knack for it, to go and massage horses and just to understand.
You mentioned your firm voice. You know, life's also difficult for everybody, for most. Is there fun times? I mean, are the guys in the jumping in the... Is there still that tradition when you have your first winner into the pool, you go?
We have... It is supposed to be. We didn't have a pool at that time, so we did threaten to take Varun to the sea. But people were apparently washed away twice, on a serious note, so we decided maybe it wasn't a good idea.
Yes.
But we are planning...
And the water's ice cold.
Well,
that's the reason you want him to...
Vicky Minot, Aussie Noach, and I went, I think, was it last year? Oh, no. That was Aussie's plan. It wasn't good.
so there is some fun times.
I know we have fun times. We're planning now that the weather's better. We want to go and do paintball.
Okay.
Brevon reckons he's going to win, but I've got news for him. And we've got some go-karting, and then we've got a...
So you've got a competitive edge with that then?
Oh, no, with that it's fine. Yeah,
okay.
No, and I don't feel pain properly, so... I've told Brevon I don't feel pain properly, so I don't mind getting hit by paintballs. You guys better watch out.
Let's touch on that objection. There was an objection the other day with the young lady.
Nicola,
Yeah, Nicola. And just talk us through that, because social media, you know, there was opinions and people are entitled to their opinions. But talk us through that whole process and that objection.
Yeah, I mean, Nicola was her first meeting here, so... she acquitted herself very well on the whole day. I mean, I thought she rode brilliantly. But she was still not understanding the procedures and that. And so James Crawford, yeah, the boys now, don't sneak. So she didn't really understand the procedure for South Africa. And so James objected, quite rightfully so, because if you're in the boardroom, the public doesn't have the benefit of all the angles. Everything looks a lot different when you can see the camera. And the head-on showed clearly that it was at least 4 strides before the line that she took quite a significant bump. And because of the margin at the finish line, which was like a nose hair, it was actually a no-brainer that she had to win that race. And that if not for that bump, she probably would have won it. So, yeah. So,
what was her emotion like after the race?
Ecstatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who was more ecstatic, her or Felix.
I mean, that's obviously not the way you imagine having your first winner.
No, it isn't the way, but she outrode Richard.
Yeah, I mean that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into the line as one with South African.
The thing is, though, she rode so well. It wasn't, she had to ride for that ride, and she took the bump, and she didn't back down. Well, yeah, got knocked out of her hand, not on purpose, of course, but yeah.
They got to get rides. They've got to book rides. Do the rides? Do they do their own? Do you help? Do you only do the bookings of the rides? Tell us about that process.
They mostly do their own. I'll try and help, like if they're on a flight, or I'll try and liaise, or say they're riding in PE. Then someone will phone me, and I've got to get a message to them because they're not allowed their phone. So those days are tricky. But mostly they do their own phoning. Occasionally a trainer will phone and discuss with me what I think, and we'll decide, or if they can't get hold of them because they're gym or riding. Sometimes when they're riding track work, then they'll speak to me. But that is part of they need to get their own rides,
Okay.
And they're pretty good about
That's
phoning around.
part of their responsibility too, because when they qualify, yes, they may have to be, some get an agent, but not everybody gets an agent, and the responsibility is them to earn their money, to get their rides. Head office in KwaZulu-Natal, and of course Johannesburg with Robert Moore. How supportive have they been?
Yeah, they're a phone call away if I need advice. Fortunately, with everybody else, I haven't had to lean on them too much, which I'm sure they're grateful for, because they've got a lot of responsibilities.
Sure.
But if I need to ask anything, and so we communicate all the time.
How have you found settling into a new routine? I guess because when you're an assistant trainer, you're dealing with horses on a regular basis. Now it's a lot different, and yes, you may wake up at the same time, but you don't have the same sort of responsibilities, and going back to track is not the same.
Yeah, I must say I hate standing on the sidelines and seeing my rides go past me. But I can't ride anymore because I have to keep an eye on the boys, and if something happens to them, somebody needs to be there. So I do miss that, I must say. But I still go, like sometimes in the afternoons on my day off, which I haven't been too many, and go and massage a horse or two, or take the boys there, and I still give my horses grass as they go by. So that's been an adjustment. That's the hardest part for me, is not being with horses. But I'm adjusting and finding it, and getting to know other horses now too.
And lifestyle in Cape Town, you enjoy it?
It's the place to be.
It's the place to be.
It really is.
It is certainly the place to be. You're quite right. The input of Hollywood, it'd be remiss if we didn't talk about that, to the industry as a whole, but to the South African Jockey Academy.
Yeah, I don't think we could have done it without them, and their vision, their support, not just financially, with everything really. Their whole ethos is how the world should be, really. They want things done properly, with integrity, and I think that's what the world needs, quite frankly, and certainly racing. It can be done.
Yeah.
And I don't know where we'd be without them. So with Greg Bortz and Hollywood coming into racing, they're doing it. It takes time.
Sure.
But they've 100% on board. The personnel that they offer us, the advice, so not just the financial.
Wow, it's been an absolute pleasure to come and sit in this magnificent academy and to be in your presence. And we look forward to spending some time with your apprentices in a moment.
My three ninjas, yeah.
The three ninjas. And we'll actually maybe just have a chat with one or two and just spend some time with them and learn about them, because they are the future, part of the future. But thank you for your time. I know welcome. We had a little giggle off air in the week when we booked you. You weren't too keen, but this interview was absolutely outstanding.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Rael. It's nice having you guys here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll see you on the battlefield. You can interview the boys there too.
And lovely. Thank you, Colinda. And it's great to learn about this. I mean, it's just the more we can learn and share with the public about things like this, the better. And
it's sort of insider information.
Yeah,
if you can put it that way.
Okay, that's it. That's a wrap from us here at the South African Jockey Academy Western Cape branch. And it's been just great to sit and chat with Colinda and find out about this glorious establishment. And we look forward to following everyone's successes and going forward. So that's a wrap from us. Tawanda Taravinga, P.W.M. Keys, and Colinda Austin, Raheel Radhakrishna, myself, Warren the Inferno. Be safe, punt well, be kind. And as always, we'll see you in the number 1 box.